What's up, everybody? I'm Matrix Andrea, and we're going to continue our playthrough of Dark Souls 2 second game cycle. So first I'm going to show my stats. And then I'm going to show my gear, and then we'll move through the area. First thing worth mentioning about Iron Keep is that this bridge here was a major duel spot back in the early days of the game's release. I don't see any signs here right now, but it's already June 2016, so maybe it's just died down a little bit since Dark Souls 3 came out. In the Scholar version, usually you'll get invaded by Fencer Sharon and Armorer Dennis, and one of them's probably going to show up once I stick my head in this doorway. Yep, here we go. I usually get invaded by Fencer Sharon before him, so that's actually who I was expecting this time. Yeah, I'm about to get right up in his face and attack him with my sword. Of the two invaders that normally show up over here, I think Fencer Sharon's a little bit harder to deal with because she dodges around a lot more and she's got more long-range attacks. Also, there's a lot of these Alonne Knights here in this area. Far more than the original video game version. So far this is pretty normal, but once I get outside to where the lava is on the walkways out there, there's a lot more Alonne Knights that come after you. These big Captain Knights, they're a lot easier to deal with if you just roll backstab them. That's true for a lot of the enemies in this game, although the Alonne Knights usually attack too fast for me to catch them that way. Maybe he fell asleep on the job. I was waiting for him to come down here and attack me so I could give him a backstab. Down this hallway is Magarold, the vendor. You can spice down your spells by talking to him, so I'm going to do that sometime later on with one of my hexes. Down there in that fire is the iron key that'll open up a door in the Forest of Fallen Giants, and then you can get into the area with giant fire-breathing monsters whose name I can't remember at the moment, and you can get the key to the DLC area, the Old Iron King. I have a real problem with roll backstabbing these guys because their attacks come out so fast that by the time I hit the circle button, they've already struck at me, so I always try to keep my shield up while I'm doing this. You gotta be careful about these guys with their great bows too, because they will shoot you while you're trying to move through the area, and you can see that it does a decent amount of damage. But I got him poisoned, so I'm gonna let the poison kill him before I go out there. And I'm going to get some of these guys' attention with my bow so I can take them out. You can see another guy far off in the background jumping down to come and get me. And here he comes, right on schedule. Oh boy, and there's another one coming behind him, so I'd better try to work fast. One at a time, fellas. When you're outside over there, it can turn into a real clusterfuck while you're trying to fight if you're not careful about what you're doing. So, unfortunately, this guy decided to turn his attention at me and made it a little bit more difficult than usual. But that's not the worst of it either. And there's an archer all the way over there, so I'll see if I can get him poisoned, and then I'll just move out of the way. Oh, I guess I paid for that. You see his arrow curved in the air to hit at me too. Somewhat cheap, but if you get close enough to him, then he can't effectively aim at you. So you pull this to drop part of the bridge down, and then you have to run up and drop down to the other side. That's where the real problems come in, because there's a bunch more Alonne Knights that'll come running at you. And there's one camouflaged up against the wall there on the bridge, so I'm going to pull him down here before I run over. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I guess I made him fall down. So there's a couple up there, and I'm going to try to poison the both of them if I can work fast enough. Okay, so that's one, and then I'll try to get his friend too. As soon as you run and drop down to the other side, they will both drop down on you, cause you some problems. There's an Alonne Knight captain over there with a bow, so I'm going to try to poison him and then get out of the way. Shit. And that's not the worst of it. There's another one on the other side of the walkway over there. Alright, so everything over there is dead. And there's one more knight down there at the bottom. I'll see if I can get him poisoned, and then I'll drop down and drop the bridge the rest of the way. Oh shit, I thought there was only one left over here. I didn't know that there were two, and I'm about to get shot. Let me see if I can take care of this guy with a backstab. Now that item right there on the staircase dropping down off into the lava, that used to be the dull ember in the original release of the game. Somewhat annoying if you were playing as a magic-based character with elemental weapons, because you had to fight your way all the way over to the Iron Keep before you could start infusing your weapons. Fortunately, Scholar fixed that and put the dull ember at the back entrance of the Lost Bastille so that you could get it essentially right after you killed the Pursuer boss. And this turns off the flame oven so that you can cut through and get back to the other side. On New Game Plus, there's going to be a couple of Red Phantom Alonne Knight captains in here, so I'm going to have to try to either Dark Orb them or poison them and see if I can make it through. Now the other one I can just run in here and fight with straight up. And then you come out right back over here on the other side. So that summon sign right there is Lucatiel. And the boss through this doorway is the Smelter Demon. So I'm going to go tangle with him and see how this works out. Major problem with that boss is that he does proximity damage from the fire that comes out of his body, which is kind of cheap if you're trying to do a no damage run. If you're not using a weapon that's long enough to hit him without taking damage, then you're just going to take it. So it's really not fair. But all in all, I kind of like the the regular Smelter Demon. I don't care much for the one that's in Broom Tower, but the original Smelter Demon is pretty fun to fight with. Okay, so I'm going to take a short break, let my recording software do what it needs to do with the video so that it doesn't cause problems with the recording in a little while. So I'll be back soon, and I'll edit it down to maybe 1 second. So I'll see everybody in just a minute. Alright, so I'm back and I'm ready to continue. This bonfire that I'm at, you have to kill the Smelter Demon to get to this one. This door won't open from the other side. You have to come through that oven that I turned off and climb a ladder, and then you'll end up over on this side, but you won't get the bonfire. And you see the 2 Alonne Knights standing in here. If you pull them with arrows, then you can drag them out here to fight them safely. If you don't, if you run into that room where they were standing on the bridge, the turtle on the other side there will start smashing it, and then you have to jump over a hole that he makes in the bridge and risk death. And I don't like platforming in these games, so I always pull these guys and then just run across. And I'm pretty sure you can shoot the turtle too and pull him out here, and he won't even start hitting the bridge. And yep, yeah, here he comes. And when you come into this room, you can use the stairwell as cover against the archer that's there. This door behind me leads to the Belfry Saul, which is another Bellkeeper Covenant area. Totally optional. There's a few optional items up there, but there's no reason to really go, so I'm not going to go up there. You can drop the guys that are standing on that platform into the lava below you, but no way to send the elevator back up until you take care of this guy, because he'll be shooting at you while you're trying to pull the lever, so I'll just poison him. And I'm going to send this back up because it's easier to cross when you don't have fire getting breathed at you trying to dodge. So when I first played through here in 2014, I would get summoned as a phantom and come into this area. And if you notice the buttons that are on these girders here, if you step on those buttons, it'll drop the platform that I'm standing on, and you get dropped into the lava and die. And I didn't understand why that kept happening, and I was afraid to move around. And I didn't realize until I played through the stage on my own exactly why I kept dying. And I'm going to poison this guy. And there's a couple of Alonne Knights up on the top that come running down when you get close enough, so I'm going to pull one of them with arrows. And his buddy will probably come running down too. Yeah, I saw him coming too. these guys got some super duper aggro range. These guys are weak to strike damage like 90% of the rest of the enemies that started in the game. So that's why I use the mace against these guys. And I forgot about that guy that was on the other side. You'll have to pardon me, I'm not doing quite as well as I thought I would here. If you climb up, when you bring the platform down where those fire-breathing statues were, if you climb up, you can get the covetous gold serpent ring and also the Black Knight great axe. Okay, good. The turtle burned himself up while I was running back so I could fight him on open space. There's also a couple of Alonne Knights in here that are hiding from you. So I saw one of them drop off the platform. I'll wait for him and I'll kill him first, and then I'll bring his buddy down. If you look, he's right there. Oh, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to use dark weapon. I meant to do this. That was a waste, but since there's a billion bonfires in this game, it's not that big a deal, because I'll run into another bonfire in just a minute. And got a turtle buddy in here. You gotta be real careful here, because if you let this guillotine drop on you while you're running through, it's instant death. I've actually had the guillotine fall on the turtle before. If I'm lucky, maybe I can have it. Yeah, I did. I got it to happen again. Awesome. So I'm going to run on through, and camouflaged up against this wall over here is a ladder leading to the other bonfire. Because this is New Game Plus, there's going to be a Red Phantom enemy up on this next level of the platforms. But I'm really just going to run right past him. I'll kill him when I get to the top after I light up the bonfire. That good old R2 stab, just an effective way to deal with things, unless they hyper armor through it, which he just did. This lever right here turns off the fire so that you can pick up certain items, like that iron key that was at the beginning of the stage. I'm not going to do that on camera, but I'll pick that up later. I'll use that to go pick up the key to get into the second DLC, the Crown of the Iron King. From here on, though, it's just a straight run to the Iron King boss. I'm going to say what I hate about this boss is that in front of him where he is, there's lava. And there's a hole behind him. So if you get punched by him and land in the hole, it's like playing basketball. You fall into the hole and then you're just dead. So you got to be real careful about that. And even when you're careful, sometimes you still get knocked into it. Cheap way to die to an otherwise easy boss. Alright, so ordinarily I give a bow to these great boss souls, but fuck him, that was a bad boss fight. I did a bad job. The boss fight itself is fine, I just didn't do a very good job at it, so you have my apologies for that. So the Crown of the Old Iron King DLC is through there. Light the Primal Bonfire here, and then you can warp back to Majula. I'll pick up the key to get into that DLC off camera, and then I'll do that somewhere near the end of the game. As always, I'd like to thank everybody for coming with, and I'll see everybody again next time.